that it is a crime to lie to Congress. Do you know that?
I do not lie to Congress.
I didn't ask you that.
And you're insinuating that I am
I
because
asked
you want
you whether you know.
you want to correct your time in this session where you got steamrolled by the facts, so you can have a Twitter narrative, so
Mr.
you can go raise
Director,
more money and spend more money on $7,000 bar tabs.
just let the
and
record
I'm not
show,
going to give
Mr.
it to
Chairman.
you.
The director of the FBI apparently does not want to answer the question about whether or not it's a crime to lie to Congress, and I find that extremely troubling.
I find it
someone who's
troubling that you
entrusted
lie to the American
with
people
law
every
enforcement.
day.
You are a disgrace, Mr. Director.
Not
and
nearly as
the
big as
fact
you.
that you can't answer that question, that concludes my questioning, Mr. Chairman, but I'm obviously very troubled.
A question for the Director of ATF. Director Sakata, I want to talk just a minute about NIBIN. I don't need to explain to you what NIBIN is, but it is a very useful tool in involving violent crimes and illegal firearms. While I strongly support the Second Amendment and the right of law-abiding citizens to own guns and carry guns, I also believe that the responsibility we have with law enforcement is to make certain you have the tools to target violent criminals who use firearms to terrorize communities. Your budget requests a program increase of $7.8 million to support NIBIN. I wanted to give you the opportunity for me to hear the reason for that increase and how that tool will be helpful to law enforcement officials in my home state of Kansas.
Good afternoon, Senator. Thank you again for your question and your support of ATF, in particular with the crime gun intelligence services that we provide to our state and local partners. NIBIN is one of the three legs to the stool of crime gun intelligence, and probably one of the most important. Our correlation review specialists are housed in two facilities, one in Huntsville, Alabama, and one in Wichita. They review approximately 3,000 images per day that are received from our state and local partners. Those images are fired cartridge casings that are recovered in crime scenes from across the country. Those experts, which we call correlation review specialists, have a capacity as to how many images they can review over their 8-hour shift and be able to successfully match to a crime scene out in the field. We currently run 2 shifts, about 16 hours a day, in both of those facilities, and we service approximately 12,000 police departments around the country. We have a pending backlog of about 30 police departments that are waiting to be added to NIBIN, and many more that are seeking support in acquiring a brass tracks machine, which is the actual machine that takes the images of either the fired cartridge casing or a test-fired casing on a firearm we would recover from a crime scene. The capacity is pretty much capped right now. And we have a number of issues we're dealing with. In 2027, about 226 brass tracks machines go end of life around the country for our state and local partners. Those partners do not have a budget to replace those machines, which would mean that the critical services we provide and the way those departments are interdependent on one another to share that intelligence, because often shooters come to one city, commit a shooting with their firearm, but live in another city and use those firearms in those other cities. We actually develop quite often the leads from the adjoining city. So it's critical for us to have the money to keep on modernizing the system and to be able to take on the additional capacity that our state and local partners require ATF to be able to handle as we continue to tackle this problem of violent crime attributed to violent felons around the country.
And that's the purpose of the $7-point-something million.
A portion of it, yes, sir.
Okay. And it used to be, let me understand about this. Do you provide the necessary device for local law enforcement to make that finding that they then forward to the NIBIN Center?
So that the device is called the brass tracks machine.
The brass tracks machine?
Yes, sir,
And
and
you
that-
provide that to local law enforcement?
We in the past have purchased it for the local police department at a cost of approximately $300,000 per machine, $200,000 for the machine plus about $100,000 for 5 years of service.
And the widespread use of that machine is hugely important to the success of the overall mission of identifying and correlating.
That's correct.
If you don't have the ability to input the information, then the system is less valuable.
That's correct. It's if I was to compare it to AFIS on the fingerprint side, the more fingerprints you have in the system, the more likely you will come back with a successful match.
Director Patel, let me ask you about what should I be worrying about? Kansas City is one of the host cities for the World Cup, a significant presence, and we've had, with your help, we've had a hearing in this subcommittee along with the Senator Britt's subcommittee on Homeland Security, looking at the security issues for places across the country associated with the World Cup. I wasn't able to ask you this question at the time, but just what are your worries and what should I be worrying about in trying to help Kansas City and other communities have the necessary safety and security for the people who attend?
For Kansas City, for any host cities, for any base camp cities, it's the same message. Our best partners are our state and local partners, and are providing the training that we do for our counter UAS program to our host cities and our base camp cities is critical to that, but also deploying during the World Cup events to all the major cities across the country, including our SABTs, our bomb technicians, and our evidence response techs. We are prepared and already put out a program to surge to those cities ahead of time and during the World Cup staging events. We've also completed or will complete 300,000 background checks for individuals coming associated with the FIFA World Cup. So we run them against our background holdings along with the other federal law enforcement partners agencies, and then we push that back out to the field. But the best thing that the communities can do, because the communities are the best partners for the FBI, is the communities and the state and locals online can help us monitor, can help send tips to the FBI, can do it at NTOC, can do it at CGIS because of the AI capabilities that we've implemented there. And we're allowed to triage that data near live time and send it back to the community and the state and local and say, hey, this individual's a threat, or this individual's talking to someone that's a threat. It's the biggest ask I have of the United States during the World Cup or any major sporting event. We had the Olympics in Milan, we had two F1 races, the Super Bowl, and the Club World Cup last summer, and we had zero major security incidents. We've learned from each and every one of those with our international partners and our state and federal partners, and we're well prepared for the upcoming World Cup across America, which is going to have 3 million people come visit, both Canada and America and also Mexico. But the state and locals focusing on online threats for me and providing that information would be critical.
And that's a capability of sharing that information that they wouldn't have had in the absence of the attention that's being provided now due to the World Cup.
Absolutely, and also data on the sidelines, as I said earlier, might as well not be collected. So that's why we took the AI tools for the first time ever and applied them against triaging that data that comes in on the NTOC, our tip lines, and in our criminal justice information systems.